Gladly, will you please join me in pledging allegiance to the flag representing the greatest nation on earth? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, is there any oral communication on any item that is not listed on the printed agenda?
Well, I just walked up the stairs, so let me catch my breath. Good morning. I want to congratulate you, Supervisor Brennan, on being elected chair of this board. We weren't offered public comment at the last meeting on that. So I think that's pretty extraordinary, and I think you told me you're the fourth female as the chair in this county. We also have a mayor that's a woman. We have a superintendent of schools that's a woman. We have a city fire chief that's a woman. We have a tax collector that's a woman, an auditor that's a woman. So this is an extraordinary time for women in Tuolumne County, and I'm really disappointed that other women didn't show up on your behalf. And then I would like the public to give some thought to the fact that there are now 4 expiring terms on the Tuolumne County Planning Commission. And I think that's an opportunity for the public to try to make a difference on the Planning Commission, because I think we need a little bit of change there. Mr. Plan told me that he was going to apply for reappointment, so I would encourage Supervisor Rotifer to make him your District 5 Planning Commission representative, and I would be fully in support of that because I think Mr. Plan has something to offer the Planning Commission when he sits there. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Elena Linehan. I'm the Prevention Programs Coordinator for the Amador-Tuolumne Community Action Agency. I'm here today representing Mentoring Works. I want to let you know that in 2017 we're celebrating our 20th anniversary of having our Mentoring Works program in the county. Over the years, we've served well over 300 youth that were vulnerable and in need of a friend in their life. This year, we would like to have in April with Volunteer Appreciation Week. We want to have a reunion for all of our previous mentors and proteges, the ones that we can find and the ones that can come to town, including Bev Shane, your Community Resource Director. And I would also like to let you know that this month is National Mentoring Month. And this Thursday, the 19th, is Thank Your Mentor Day. So I'll pass these cards down. And what we're asking all of you to do is to think, who was that person when you were a little boy or a little girl? Who was that adult who took that extra time for you, who listened to what you had to say, who gave you that guidance when you were a troubled teen, all of those sort of things? And take a moment to acknowledge them. This is a card that has a thank you theme on one side and a blank note on the other side. You need to use a first-class stamp because it's too large for a postcard stamp. But write a little note, address it to them, pop it in the mail, tell them that now that you're thinking back on them, they made a huge impact on your life. You know, if you know your third grade teacher, Mrs. Wilson, is long gone and retired and possibly in the grave, write that note to the school and let them know that that teacher took extra time with you and where you are today because of who they allowed you to be. If it was your Girl Scout leader and you have no idea where to find Tweety Bird anymore or even what her last name was because your memory is such that I know it's Tweety Bird, but I've forgotten that it was Mrs. Lambert, you can write the Girl Scouts and say, the leader of your program helped me, or the minister of your youth group. If you can't find that minister, write to that church. If it was an aunt or an uncle who made a difference for you, give them a call. If they're no longer alive, call your cousin and say, I don't think I ever took the time to tell you what your mom or your dad meant to me. So we'd appreciate you honoring all the mentors in your life and help us celebrate this year 20 years of helping the youth who are most in need by providing a caring adult. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Supervisors. I'd like to echo Carol's comments and congratulate you, Supervisor Brennan, on being appointed chair. And to those in attendance, my name is Matt Reed. I'm from Congressman Tom McClintock's office. I'm just here to announce that from 10 a.m. this morning until 11:20, I'll be in Supervisor Rotifer's office here on the 4th floor for office hours. Should anyone have a problem with a federal agency that you may want to seek assistance with, or any concerns or suggestions on federal policy, be happy to meet with you and talk about that. And to the board, as the new congressional term starts here, we look forward to continuing to seek your counsel and guidance, both the congressman and his office, on a wide range of issues that for the mutual benefit of the constituents, ranging from public lands to foreign policy advice to water management and other areas of public concern. So we look forward to continuing the strong working relationship, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Matt.
Good morning. Ann Fremd, Human Resources Manager. I have an off-agenda item I would like the board to consider adding. This is the Deputy Sheriff's Association Memorandum of Understanding, and there are some retroactive pay issues that need to be addressed, which is why it is an urgency item.
So, do I have consensus from the board to add this?
Motion.
All right, we'll need a motion to
Okay.
add this then as item 15A.
Okay, I'll move to add this as item 15A off agenda.
Second.
Is there any public comment on this item? All right, motion by Supervisor Rotifer, second by Supervisor Hanfeld. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Ann.
Thank
Motion
you.
carries.
Good morning. My name is David Gonzalez. I'm your new Community Resource Agency Director. I wanted to give the board and the public a quick update on one of our road projects. It's an emergency situation. We're presently working on Kuhn Mill Road. I would pronounce this correctly. And that's where the crews are. I apologize for being a few moments late where we were finalizing, getting some things taken care of. They're actually installing that bridge today. Crews are headed out there right now to try to get things prepped for that. There'll be some intermittent interruptions to that one lane to the residents there. I understand that is the only real way in and out of there, which is why we have taken a priority to authorize the emergency contract and put in the bridge today. I do have some photos if the board or the public would like to see those. I have them on flash drive. Otherwise, just wanted to give you that brief update to let you know. And there are others that we're also working on. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
All right, any other public comment? Will the clerk of the board please read the consent calendar?
Minutes of the meeting held January 2nd and 5th, 2017, approving amendments to class specification for public health program and service manager, approving assistant community resources director, agency director, development, and assistant community resource agency director, public works, class specifications, establishment of pay range, and assignment to a bargaining unit. Approving the amendment to the Tuolumne County Behavioral Health Advisory Board bylaws, approving the Emergency Medical Services Data Improvement Grant application to the California EMS Authority not to exceed $67,304. Approving the 2017 Local Child Care and Development Planning Council membership report, and vacating the positions of Marge Warner and Laura Lee Brown Marcus from the Commission on Aging as per their bylaws, and directing the clerk of the board to post a notice of vacancy.
Are there any items that a member would like pulled? Any public comment? Seeing none, can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Hanfeld. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. 4, 1 abstain or absent.
8.
Item 8.
This is a presentation by the Friends of the County Library on the I Love My Library Million Penny Challenge.
Tracy.
Good morning, Madam Chair, supervisors, staff, and interested citizens. I am Chris Day, and I'm from the Friends of the Tuolumne County Library. And I wanted to tell you about a countywide fundraiser that will run for the entire month of February, from February 1st through the 28th. The Friends of the Tuolumne County Library and its chapters have organized the Million Penny Challenge. Now, when we were thinking about what we wanted to do in 2017 for fundraising, we wanted something that anyone could participate in regardless of age, and we wanted something that would capture the imagination. 1 million pennies seemed to fit the bill. And so we embarked on the Million Penny Challenge. In November and December, we canvassed local businesses, asking them to sponsor the project. And then recently, our volunteers have been canvassing the retail businesses, asking them to host a collection jar. Actually, we have several sizes of collection jars. So, we're embarking on the Million Penny Challenge now, and the goal is to raise 1 million pennies or more so that we can purchase children's and young adult books for the youth reading programs in the library branches, Sonora, Maine, Tuolumne City, Twain Harte, Groveland, and of course the Bookmobile. What we're doing is asking the community members to donate their pennies and loose change, and of course we'll accept anything larger as well, gladly. And all of the funds that we collect during the challenge will be used to purchase books for the youth reading programs such as Storytime, Born to Read, Summer Reading, Brainy Kids of Groveland, and Children's Literacy. So, well, we've already started. We had an early publicity release in the Union Democrat back on Friday, the 6th of January. And one of our patrons at the Sonora, Maine Library came in with a coffee can full of pennies. And this was the large coffee can. It weighed in over 8 pounds. Then recently, one of my friends came in with a jar that weighed 37 pounds, all pennies. I think we're getting a very good response. We certainly have had a very good response from the business community, and we appreciate that. Can I answer any questions for you?
Just a comment. I want to really thank all of you for all you do for the libraries. I don't know how we would operate without you, so really thank you. And I'll do my best to put some pennies in those jars.
So what I'm asking you to do is spread the word and tell your family and friends. And, of course, please donate your pennies, loose change, and, like I said, we'd accept anything larger. Thank you for your time.
Just a second. Are there any other comments?
Yeah, I want to echo Supervisor Gray's comments. What you do is so important to our community, and especially the kids, but seniors, everybody uses the library, and I just thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'd like to echo that too. The library here is amazing to me because, you think of a library, you just think of it's just books. Our library is bigger than books. You made the library stay relevant in people's lives in this county. You provide more assistance than I ever imagined a library would do. I have to congratulate the library on the great job that they do, and thank you and the entire library staff.
You know, the Friends of the Library and its chapters, so Friends of the Groveland Library, High Country Friends of the Library, Tuolumne City Friends of the Library. We all, of course, love the library, love its programs, and we're very pleased to see such good response to things like art in the library, people actually coming to the library to visit the photography, or currently up in Groveland, a wonderful artist, Carol Pinaki, and her acrylics. So we feel it's one of the county's greatest resources. And we hope through this challenge that we will generate awareness and interest in all of the programs and the resources.
So, Chris, I would just echo the comments of my colleagues, and I think the library is a treasure in Tuolumne County. And I'm hoping that we can get one of your jars and place it up here on the 4th floor.
Yes.
Because I know I have some change that I'd like to drop in, and I think we all would participate in that. So, is there any public comment on this item? All right. Thank you very much, Chris. Item 9.
Actually, item number 9 has been pulled and will be continued at a later date. And we'll go with number 10.
Thank you. Item 10.
Number 10 is consideration of adopting a resolution continuing the local state of emergency as required by the California Emergency Services Act, Article 14, Section 8630C, due to drought conditions.
All right.
Tracy.
Good morning. Tracy Riggs, County Administrator's Office and OES Coordinator. So for the first time, our county has 3 proclamations going on at one time, and this is one of those 3. Drought has been an issue that our county has been dealing with, as you are aware, for a little over 2 years now, and many of the cascading effects. This item requires, as does any proclamation, that your board review no less than every 30 days. So while you may have looked at this earlier in the month, because there are more than 30 days between one board meeting to the first of the next board meeting, I need to come and see you again. So since the last time we saw you, we have had one other well referral, and that was another well that had gone dry. Again, our environmental health director goes out, he assesses it, he determines that it will not meet basic health and sanitation needs, makes the referral to us, and then we go out, we install a tank, and then we have water deliveries to them. We also, as you know, have been working with both the state and our contractor in ATCAR to determine when and how and where do we start. Once we start removing the tanks, where do we take them? Storing 120 plus water tanks that are 2,500 gallons will take a lot of space. So staff met with our county administrator, Craig Pedro, and Deputy County Administrator Daniel Richardson, and Ethan, who is, as you know, another OES analyst, did go out to the mine site at the Jamestown, I'm trying to think, mine site, and we will be able to store tanks out in that area. There's a locked gate out there. However, because it is open during the day, we may install some temporary fencing around those tanks just to ensure that no vandalism or any type of damage occurs during those hours in which that gate is unlocked. So I did send out an email to our emergency services coordinator from Cal OES asking if she's heard anything about terminating the drought assistance funding. As we all know, that's a concern of ours. ATCAR continues to spend about $50,000 a month delivering potable water to those 100-plus homes that are affected. And that's of concern for all of us. We are working with them this month. Letters went out earlier in the month in which we will let them know we'll make a water delivery this month. We will be switching all of those homes onto their well to see how get that word out a lot here, how they manage on just their wells alone. They are also being taught how they can go out and flip the switch so that if it does not meet their needs, they can go back to the tank. There is no word right now at the state of ending the drought funding, but we do have concerns that once we get to June 30th, we really don't know what the governor's office will decide. So we are trying to get our homeowners as prepared as we possibly can. We are also seeking other funding that, while maybe many won't be able to afford the water deliveries, it can be quite expensive, but maybe we can find some other funding, such as low interest or no interest loans for people to deepen their wells or drill new wells. We have already gone out to everyone who could possibly connect to the public water system, and either they're in the process of being connected, as you know, with the Jamestown water main extension, or we have gotten them connected through Department of Water Resources. So we're kind of at that point where unless we can deepen their well or drill a new one, they will be left to only having water deliveries. And so we're looking at everything we possibly can to assist those homeowners. The extension in Jamestown is going very quickly. The contractor's doing a fantastic job. We have been working, as you know, with Terry Cox on CDBG funding. This is a grant that over a year ago your board approved to go ahead and submit an application. We submitted for $2 million, and with Jamestown water main extension in mind. Unfortunately, they rescinded that application. They reissued it with a whole lot more criteria that we had to meet that was not in there before, and one of those is NEPA. As a result, there's no way we will be able to align that funding source with the project timeline. What we're being told, it's 6 to 9 months before we could even possibly get that funding source aligned with getting assistance to these homeowners. So now we're pursuing other funding for those who may not have the ability to pay for the private lateral. So the funding we have now through Department of Water Resources and Department of State Water Board is the actual water main extension, and then the public lateral and the meter does not pay for the private lateral, so from their home to the meter. That can run, it depends how far away they are from the meter. We're told it can run $3,000 to $7,000. So some can afford that, but there are others who are indicating they cannot. So again, we're working with every agency that we possibly can, trying to secure ways to get those individuals connected to the public water system that is now running right outside their home. I'm looking at Supervisor Roder, you look like you have a question? No. Okay, so with that being said, I'm happy to answer any questions for drought.
Not really a question, just a comment. There's no way of knowing when the state's going to end the drought, as we know, and I applaud all the efforts that staff is making to try and anticipate what will happen when that happens and how we can help our people. But I think it's one truism, I think, is that the current situation is not a permanent solution. And so I think that the people that are on the well program need to be aware of that. At some point, some of them are going to have to make a tough decision, and it's going to be expensive. Just like if we weren't in a drought and somebody's well failed, they have to deal with that. So while we're doing all these extraordinary actions right now, at some point we're not going to be able to do that. And that's an unfortunate reality. But this is not a permanent solution. And the other thing that I think that we might want to consider is the potential of changing the name of the state of emergency, because at some point we're really into recovery from a drought and no longer in a drought. And somehow, I think we need to think about how we do that verbiage-wise, because I'm not sure if we keep getting the moisture that we've been getting. Right now it kind of looks a little bit odd that we're in a state of emergency for a drought, and at the same time we're in a state of emergency for flooding. We all understand that, but there's going to come a time when it's going to be hard to justify staying in a state of emergency for drought, and maybe we change the name of the state of emergency to better reflect that we're cleaning up the mess that was left behind because of the drought. I don't know how we do that, but that's something we might want to think about.
To Supervisor Roder's point about being proactive, like you said, the people need to know that this is the end is coming. So whatever we can do, letters to tell them that this is not a permanent solution, just keep reaffirming that, I'm sure would be helpful. But as always, great job, and hope the drought is over and everybody's wells recover.
President.
I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. The problem with drought is, when they declared a drought, that wasn't instantaneously the advent of well problems. There's a time constant or a delay factor there before the well impacts come into place. And we already, we already know if you just had one more well, that continues in spite of all this water. So recovery of these wells, if it happens, and we don't know what's going to happen, no way to predict that, is the issue. So it's my opinion that we need to work with the governor's office and suggest that while he may declare end of drought in California, that doesn't mean the impacts of drought, and that we may need some assistance. But my colleagues are absolutely right. There will be a time when enough is enough, and we have to find permanent solutions. And I know some of those are tying into TUD, but that isn't always possible. So reality is coming, and we can foresee that without much thought. It doesn't take a rocket scientist for that. So we need to be ahead of the game, and I think we need to work with the governor's office.
Yeah.
And while I agree with everything that my colleagues have said, we also have to recognize that, when we talk about well recovery, we don't have good historical data. Some of these wells could have very well been very low-performing wells to begin with. And so that doesn't mean that we don't have to try and find some pathway. But I think we need to recognize that some of these wells they may not recover. So with that, is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back for an action.
Madam Chair, I move that we continue to have a state of emergency in Tuolumne County due to drought.
Second.
I have a first by Supervisor Rotifer, a second by Supervisor Hanfield. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0 with Supervisor Royce absent. Item 11.
Consideration of adopting a resolution continuing the local state of emergency as required by the California Emergency Services Act, Article 14, Section 8630C, due to pervasive tree mortality.
Okay. Tracy Riggs, County Administrator's Office. So the item before you is our second proclamation of emergency for tree mortality. This is an ongoing issue, as you are well aware. And because, again, we need to have your board review and either terminate or renew the proclamation no less than every 30 days. That's why I'm here again 2 weeks after the last time that you saw this. So since the last time that we came before your board, you remember we have work currently taking place in Miwok Village. That work had to stop because of weather. It will be picking up again, and there is about another 7 to 10 days worth of work up there. After that, the CAL FIRE inmate crews, as they've done in the past, will continue cleaning up. They'll finalize that project area, and then a notice of completion would be issued. The other area that we have been working on is a Sugar Pine Trail, which is a county-owned trail. And you may remember we reported that there were some trees that were felled by other individuals other than us. Sounds like maybe some homeowners. And the logs were left kind of scattered across the trail. So, again, CAL FIRE has gone up. So Barry Rudolph has been taking his crews up there. They've been cleaning it up. However, there are about another 10 to 14 trees that need to be felled that we will take care of. So an RFP will be going out for that, request for proposals, in the near future. We've also been working and marking trees up in Cedar Ridge. That marking has been completed. Now we're working with PG&E to make sure that we tie our work in with them so that, as you know, we try to come in after them. So Mike meets with PG&E about once a week with their project coordinator, and we are expecting to issue a request for proposals by the end of this month for Cedar Ridge and for the Sugar Pine area, Sierra Village and Sugar Pine. So the other area we've been working, as you know, is the U.S. Forest Service. We have a roads agreement in which there is $2 million we are able to use to remove trees that are on U.S. Forest Service land but adjacent to county roads. That amendment the road agreement we had to amend because when Duke York, our road superintendent, reviewed the list of roads, that list of roads I think was from 1979 or so, and didn't contain a lot of the roads just needed to be updated. So Duke took the time to go through, list all of the county roads that are adjacent to U.S. Forest Service property. We then submitted that to the Forest Service. They have amended it. I believe that came into my mailbox last Thursday or Friday, and we'll get that reviewed by council and then signed. And once we do get that completed, then Ferretti Road is one of the first areas we will go up and begin working with. And we are also trying to contact AT&T to get their assistance, as we know they have some lines along that road.
If you wait long enough, they're all going to be down. Yeah.
Well, hopefully that will happen. So we do have the amendment, which was quicker than what they thought they would get through, but they were fantastic. They got it through just within a few weeks, and we just need to then review it and get it signed ourselves. And then we also were made aware of some hazard trees along the Columbia Pool. So our facilities manager, Ed Hogue, has been up there with Chris Trott, who is one of the foresters. They marked the trees, and now Ed will be working with Ethan to put together a request for proposals, and we'll get that work done. And our project timeline we're looking at is for spring break, so we can get up there while the kids are away, get all that taken care of, and when they return, all the trees will be removed. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Staff recommendation is to continue the local state of emergency for tree mortality.
One of the comments that I think we need to make clear to the public, Supervisor Gray alluded to that if we wait long enough, those trees are going to come down on their own. Those trees are coming down right now, and every storm is a risk. I just think we need to get the message across to people that every dead tree is a hazard tree waiting to happen. They're coming down on their own, and they're dangerous to be near. Stay away from them, and this is really important. I'm worried about people getting hurt. I'm worried about their property getting hurt. This is not only a state of emergency, it's a state of urgency. And so just want to pass that word along, and I'll move in favor of the proclamation.
Second.
Is there any public comment on this item? All right. Any other comments by board members? I have a motion by Supervisor Hanfeld and a second by Supervisor Gray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries 4-0 with Supervisor Royce absent. Thank you. And item 12.
Consideration of approving a grant agreement with CAL FIRE to use state responsibility area tree mortality funds to abate hazard trees on private property and on county service area roads.
Ms. Riggs. Here we go. So the item before you is for the CAL FIRE state responsibility area tree mortality grants. As your board is aware, in October 2016, our office submitted a total of 15 grants requesting $3 million. We received notification that we'd been approved in December for $2.4 million. And in the memo we've listed out, we have many different project areas or zones as we call them. So all of the zones, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 10. Each of those, except for one, was approved for $200,000, one being $186,688. Zone 6 and Zone 9. So Zone 6 was East Twain Hart, Sugar Pine, and Ponderosa Hills, and Zone 9 is Wards Ferry to Woodham Carn. Those were not selected by CAL FIRE. And what I want to make sure that your board and the public understands is that while those zones were not selected, we do have the ability to amend the grants and the project area, meaning the scope of work. So as I'm looking in here, say we don't spend the whole $200,000 in some of zones 1, 2, or all the way through, we can amend those project areas and those grants, send in a letter, and CAL FIRE will allow us to change that scope of work, so we could still go into Ponderosa Hills, Twain Hart, and to Woodham Carn if needed, and Wards Ferry Road. So we're not just stuck to the zones that are in here. Those can be amended, and so we did receive almost $1.6 million in for those zones there. That particular area was to assist private homeowners. The second area that we looked at was for the community service area roads. You have heard Duke York, our road superintendent, discuss on many occasions that we have many, many miles of community service area roads, and his concern for ingress and egress for emergency vehicles and for evacuations. So we did submit a number of grant applications and received $800,000 for our community service area roads. And those zones, as you can see, are Columbia, Cedar Ridge, Twain Harte, and Groveland. Again, if we find other CSA roads within the county that are not within this project scope, we can amend and modify these grants and then go out and do the work as we find it. CAL FIRE has relayed that they will be very flexible with us as long as it meets the intention of the grant. So this is where we kind of get into how does your board want staff to roll out this grant? We have done our best to try and put something together within this memo, but we are looking to you for direction. So you'll see the first area we talk about is dead and dying trees on private property. So we have where within the grant we're able to remove dead and dying trees within 300 feet of the home, and really what they're looking at is defensible space. And then also to remove logs and debris that are also within that area. Now to take that a step further, because as you can imagine, there are some homeowners who may have very small parcels but yet may have 22 trees that are dead and dying on their lots. So we have to try and figure out how do we apply this and take this funding as far as we possibly can to make the greatest impact and remove those most hazardous trees. So within that, what we did was we created an application and financial qualification. These are just for examples only. I'm really looking to your board to tell us how you would like us to handle this. Would you like financial criteria applied? How would you like us to do this? So what you see on here first is we worked with Sheila Shanahan, the housing coordinator in the Community Resources Agency, and she gave us what are the HUD state income limits for Tuolumne County. So we start out with very low income and it goes up to moderate income, and we show you what that looks like for up to 8 people in the home. The table below indicates that if we were to then take that another step and you were to take very low income, someone with one person in the home making $23,000 a year, they would have no match. But then it goes up. So if we go to low income and above, so anyone above moderate income, we were saying would have a 50% cost share. Because the state responsibility area grant the funds are part of that grant. So what they've been collecting, these fees, were about half of what comprised of the total makeup for them to distribute for grants. With that being said, we are recommending that your board would make this available to any homeowner within the state responsibility area, but we are recommending a cost share for those who might be able to afford a higher share of cost. Again, looking to you to make that determination. Then we have the prioritization. Really, while we can remove trees within 300 feet of the home, the recommendation is to only the first time through, remove trees that are within striking distance of the home. If a tree is 100 feet tall, but it's 200 feet from the home, we would recommend leaving that tree. We can mark it, but we would do a priority 1 and a priority 2. 1 for the ones that would strike the home, 2 for those that were within that 300 feet but would not strike the home. The reason we are doing the 1 and 2 is there is a possibility there could be funds left over that would allow us to go back into an area and clean up some of those other trees. The other component of this that we wrote in is, as you are all aware, there are some homeowners who had the financial capability to go and have trees felled, but did not have the financial capability to have the trees hauled away. This grant, while we are up working in areas, what we'd like to be able to do is for those homeowners who have logs and debris laying around their homes because they were able to have them felled, we'd like to have the contractor also remove those trees while they're there, those logs, while they're there, and get them up and away from the home. So then after that, we go into the right of entry permit. You know that the right of entry permit has been quite controversial. This is different from CDAA, the California Disaster Assistance Act. This doesn't have the same type of language required. When I say that, it does. Council has been reviewing the contracts, and we've talked about coming back to you at a later date, maybe on February 7th, for you to provide more direction, if needed, as to the latitude of which you'd like to have that right of entry permit hold harmless and indemnification. Again, I know Council's going to work with Ann Frem, risk manager, just to see what exactly is contained in those contracts and what is it that they're most concerned about, and bring that back to you at a later date. We cannot begin expending these grants until February 15th. So we have the ability to come back to you even with this grant if you provide direction on how you would like it to be rolled out, how you would like us to make it available to the public. We can bring it back to you for another time for you to review and provide direction. And I'm trying to think. So the roads on the CSA roads, that would be very much similar to how we're already doing our county roads. We would work with the road superintendent. We would select those roads and look at only remove those trees that could fall onto those roads, and then making it where you can't pass through those roads. So we want to make sure that they're available for evacuation routes, ingress and egress for our emergency personnel as well. And so we did put some other areas in which your board could provide some flexibility. And again, these are just what I've listened and heard from different individuals. We did take this and take it to our tree mortality core planning team. They were fine with the way that this has been presented, and but again, some concerns about, do we have any share of costs? What share of costs? Where do you make that cutoff area? So some more other areas for flexibility might be financial criteria. What do you want that to be? Share of cost. Do you want a minimum, maximum, a deposit? If we're going to request that there be a share of cost after working through the drought program, we know we need to collect that share of cost up front. There could be a payment plan, and that's something your board could direct staff to do. That could be difficult. I would like, if that's what your board would like to do, approach Sally Peach and for Office of Revenue Recovery. Maybe if a homeowner can't afford that share of cost all at once, maybe they could do a payment plan, but there might be an administrative fee so that Shelly's office could collect that over a period of time, and your board could decide how long that you might allow them to make payments. We could make the rating system different. How are we going to prioritize hazard trees? And the rollout of the programs and project areas could also be amended. So we're just looking to you overall, now that you know that we have the funding, is there something that you have in mind that you'd like to see us put together so that we can then make this available to the public? As we've talked about in the past, the first Saturday in March, I think that March 4th, I don't have a calendar in front of me, but it is the first Saturday in March. We do have a countywide tree mortality workshop coming up. What we'd like to do is, with your board direction, is finalize this and make that available to individuals when they come into that workshop in March. So with that being said, I'm happy to answer any questions. We have not brought the budget before you yet. We will do that at mid-year. We won't begin expending before mid-year. And we also are asking that your board would allow our county administrator or deputy county administrator to sign all grant-related documents. All of these grants are sitting right now, have been reviewed by council, and are waiting signature to be returned to CAL FIRE so that they can finalize the grant documents and then obligate the funding for us.
So I will start with Supervisor Hanfeld.
Okay, first of all, I think the staff gets a big kudo for pulling this off. We've been at Tree Mortality Task Force. The counties have been pushing for some aid for private landowners in a big way, and this is really the first real manifestation of that for any of us, and it's a big deal. And Ken Pimlott and the CAL FIRE people deserve a lot of credit for going out and going after this. They've been great partners. $2.4 million is an amazing achievement that our staff gets a lot of credit for. I think one county got a little more than that, and it was Fresno, but they got a lot more population than we have. So I just want to say thanks to the staff. I want to say thanks to CAL FIRE for this. $2.4 million sounds like a lot of money, but when you start taking these trees down and they're in close, they become very expensive. I think it's also a very dangerous thing. It gets more dangerous with time as these trees remain upright after being dead. So I'm very nervous about this. I don't believe this will solve the problem. I don't want anybody to think that it'll solve the problem on private lands. $2.4 million will go a long way, but not long enough and not far enough. I think the staff, first of all, I think we have to accept these. I mean, we can't, it's crazy to turn it down, so I think we need to authorize that without a doubt. I think we need to find a plan to make this as easy as possible on the private landowners. However, if they are capable of participating financially in this, I think they should. It'll make the money go further, and it'll help us deal with the people who can't afford anything. And I'm all in favor of working with Shelley to see if something can be done about that. right now I think our most important thing is to accept these, approve authorization, then work on the financial plan, because you can't get started till February 15th, and bring back pretty strong recommendation. And I would say work with Shelley to see if a payment plan is reasonable and possible, given everything else that she has to do. But good job, staff. Great job, staff. Thank you.
Supervisor Gray?
Yes, I have to agree with Supervisor Hanvelt. Having a way to finance this may be helpful. It's cheaper, I think, to finance than it is to have an emergency situation happen and we have to respond to it. So looking at what you have prepared here, it does seem reasonable. We have a minimum and a maximum. I guess that's where you're trying to find out where we want to be with that. And I would think maybe somewhere in the middle, just my opinion right now, that, as far as the contribution part of it. One tree is going to cost somebody $1,000. If they have 5 trees and they have enough money to do the work themselves, then it would seem reasonable to get a higher contribution. So you can work on that and bring it back next time, but it just looks reasonable with the information that we have here.
Supervisor Rotifer?
Yeah, I actually had a question on that. The cost figures, were they per project, as in per lot or property or whatever you want to call it, or were they per tree? There could be some people that even at the very low income level or the low income level, if they had, 30 trees that could hit their house, wouldn't even be able to afford the match. So I didn't really understand that chart and exactly how we were contemplating using it.
So what I kind of skipped over is right above the chart, we did say that we are recommending that in order to try and get to every household, that you would cap each parcel at $10,000. So that would mean not based on tree, but the total cost of the project. And these would go out to bid, so that's going to be a big determination factor for what someone's share of cost would be. But that share of cost, that minimum and maximum, is based on $10,000. So when we say 5%, we have a minimum of $100, but they would not pay more than $500, and that is based on a
Okay.
$10,000 project.
Okay, thank you for clarification. And super work, as always. Staff's going the extra mile. Thank you very much.
So one of the questions that I had, Trace, was if the tree is on adjacent property, and I hate to make this more complicated, but we saw this with TMAP, but it will strike a home of an individual that may fit within these categories. I'd be interested in knowing how we're going to assess that or work with that.
So I'm just scanning through because I thought that we had put in here or strike an adjacent home. But we would take that into consideration. So if the tree were within striking distance of the home on that parcel or within the home on a separate parcel, they would be marked as a number 1 priority. So it's striking any habitable structure.
Okay.
If someone has a shop or a separate shed, those would not be in the first priority tier as we have laid it out here. It has to, and CAL FIRE grant was very clear about it being, a habitable structure, which would not, because we've had a few questions. What about my shop? It's bigger than my house. Well, unless you're living in your shop and your family's living in your shop, the first priority and what's contained within the grant documents is that we would go and protect the home. So just something to clarify for public as well.
Well, and then to build on that, I guess we would have to be asking ourselves on that adjacent property piece, a question that would have to be answered is who would be liable for the match?
Mm-hmm.
And that, again, can get a little bit controversial, but something that we'll have to answer.
No, I think you're right, and I think that will come up because we've seen a lot of other questions such as that come up even with drought.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the last piece that I'd be interested in is I think it would be important to reach out and coordinate with TMAP where possible, because you could have some retired residents that might qualify for their program, even if it was just in the cost share piece, and really in trying to make this go as far as we can. I think they'd be a great resource.
Absolutely. And Glenn was in the meeting with us, and we've been discussing ways that we can work with them to again, make their funding and this funding go as far as we possibly can.
Great.
I have one come back based on one of the comments you made. When you get to that discussion with the various homeowners on who's responsible for that tree that's on one lot but is a threat to another lot, remind them who's got the liability for that tree coming down.
Yeah, I will have a conversation with that with council also. We already have a meeting scheduled to talk about the right of entry permit process, so we can discuss this as well. So I guess what I'm kind of looking to you are, do you want it rolled out the way that it is? I mean, if I were to bring it back, I'm just looking for what it is you might be looking for me to bring it back for final approval.
I would leave it the way it is right now and work with it, and then we can modify it if it's not a problem.
Okay.
You're going to find a problem somewhere.
We will.
You're going to probably come back and say, "Hey, we need to do this." So
absolutely.
But I'm confident that you have the resolve to figure it out.
And the other thing, just because we've already had these questions as well, so for you, your board, and for those who are listening, we are not able to reimburse anyone for work that has already taken place. So that is very clear in the documentation too. This will all go through the public process, meaning it will be competitively bid. The other way we're looking at this is when we are working in an area, we will not be contracting with someone who will go maybe to Groveland one day and Cedar Ridge another. We will look at doing entire area at once so that they mobilize, do the work, and then move out. We just, from everyone I've spoke to who does this work, said that would be the less expensive way to approach it. And the homeowners will have the ability, as they do already, when the contractors up there doing the work, if they have some trees that weren't marked as priority one and the homeowner has the financial capability to have those remaining trees felled, they could pay that contractor separately under a separate contract to get that taken care of while they're there. We don't prohibit that, just isn't part of our process, but they, in some instances, have already done that with other projects, including even with PG&E if they do the same thing. So again, that's only for those who would have the financial ability to take those trees down.
So, is there any public comment on this item?
I'm Larry Crabtree, the Fire Chief from Miwok Sugar Pine Fire Protection District. And as I've been saying for years, I can't say enough good things about the program that you guys have put together and the work that Tracy and her staff has done in this project. It's just an amazing leading edge program that you've put together and you've got here. And I've reviewed this. I've talked to Tracy about it briefly in the past. And the program that she's got put together here, I think, is a dynamic program. It's a great program. We are in support of it, completely in support of it. I want you to know that. I only have one question that I didn't hear raised. Maybe it was, but I didn't hear it, and that is, has in-kind cost sharing been considered in this project? And the kind of thing I'm thinking about is for the smaller homeowner that maybe already has the trees on the ground but has a lot of debris. And if you haven't been up through that neighborhood, there's 100 times the debris this year that we normally have. Where a homeowner could clear the debris, gather the debris as part of a cost share, and then the grant funding could haul the debris away or something along that line. I just wonder if there's any sort of a consideration for an in-kind cost share instead of a hard dollar cost share. Thank you very much. And again, fantastic program, excellent work. I really appreciate it.
So we have not considered in-kind. That's something your board could consider as well. We did, and this grant language and the memo does contain information about that we would be able to remove that woody debris and logs that are already on the ground. But we have not discussed in-kind. In-kind is a great thing, and people always have the ability also, if they want us to leave the logs. Many times the contractor will just bucket up into smaller pieces, and then the homeowners are cutting it up and stacking it. But again, that would be up to you. In kind, we will not be able to utilize, so the CAL FIRE inmate crews for the home projects. We can do the roads, but they're just not comfortable with having them getting in there right up next to the homes as close as we will be within that 300 or 100 feet of the home.
I have no problem with the contribution from the homeowner. If we can fit it within the grant parameters, I think it makes sense.
We can contact CAL FIRE. The only issue, and I say issue, it's not an issue, it's how do we quantify what that in-kind is? That's the most difficult part, is how do we do that? It could be maybe the homeowner, instead of us having to pay someone to come out and chip and do all of that, part of the contract is decreased because they won't have to do the chipping, but the contract again will be overall for a large area and not on a per parcel basis. So I'm not saying we can't do it. We just have to sit down and put our heads together to see how do we make that work? How do we quantify it, what they would be doing? So am I hearing all of you are in favor for looking at an in-kind contribution?
If you can do it
Well-
accurately or close to accurately. But
I'll pull all the brains in our tree mortality group together and see what they have to say.
Make sure it's okay within the ground rules of the grant.
We will,
too.
absolutely.
I'll move on staff recommendation.
Second.
So we have a motion by Supervisor Rotifer and a second by Supervisor Gray to move on staff recommendation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? Motion carries 4-0 with Supervisor Royce absent. Thank you, Tracy. Will the clerk please read item 13?
Consideration of awarding the Community Development Block Grant Consultant Agreement with Cox Consulting.
Great. So I'll take this item. Hi, Maureen Frank, Deputy County Administrator. As you are well aware, Tuolumne County has participated in Community Development Block Grant activities since 1982. And since that time, we have given out a total of 62 loans in our small business program alone, $8,274,400 worth of loans to help local businesses here. Besides that, our community development block grants have gone to various infrastructure projects, whether it's drainage programs, putting in water lines, helping with laterals for low-income communities, working on providing some type of say gap financing, if you will, to needed programs like the food bank and housing stabilization. So it's a very worthy program and has provided a lot of support in our community. Currently, the County Administrator's Office has oversight for this program, but ever since that time in which we first initiated going into this program, we have contracted out the day-to-day administration of it. The current agreement that we have with Cox Consulting terminates this February 28th, and so it was time to get out and do an RFP for these services. The proposal RFP was sent out to over 32 agencies. It was advertised in the local paper, and upon close, the county only received one proposal from Cox Consulting. Outstanding services from Cox Consulting, but still staff wanted to know why we were only receiving one proposal. So went to work and contacted those potential vendors out there, and in your memo I've outlined 5 of the most outstanding items, and those were just in summary form. Because the county had been working with one consultant, some of the other potential consultants thought, why should they bother putting in the time if the county was only going to probably most likely pick someone they're familiar with and had been working with for a long time. Others felt that because of the distance and where they were located, could provide this service that they really felt they wanted to Tuolumne County because they were so far located from our county. Some of them are really downsizing their businesses and no longer interested in taking on new clients. And then the fifth response, most common response that we got was housing and community development's allowable reimbursement rates were too low. And we're seeing from the consultants a lot of frustration from housing and community development. It's frustrating, just like we're dealing with NDRC. Rules are constantly changing. It's hard to keep up with them. Payments sometimes are slow. They're slow to react to things. They're a very frustrating organization. Mean well, do good, but it's just sometimes bureaucracy at its best. So that's very frustrating for a lot of these consultants. So what I did is we prepared a sole source request from Housing and Community Development to see if they could review our process that we went through with our RFP and see if they were okay with granting us a sole source. And after review of our application for that request, they have approved it, and we received that on January 3rd. So before you today for your consideration is an agreement for professional services with Cox Consulting. This term of the agreement is for a 1 year with the possibility of 2 1-year extensions from that period. The agreement has been reviewed by County Counsel's Office, and I am recommending to your board to award the contract for CDBG consulting services to Cox Consulting and authorizing the county administrator to sign this agreement. And just as a side note, I've been working with Terry Cox for 23 years. She's an incredible woman. She has been amazing with our CDBG program. I think in all the years since I've been here, only once have we not received a CDBG grant application. Her batting averages is phenomenal. She's in there. She's on their Blue Ribbon Advisory Committee meeting. She knows the people. She's heavily invested in it, and I think gets us the best services that we possibly can. So even though we only received one proposal, I'm excited that we'll hopefully continue our relationship with Cox Consulting.
Thank you, Mo. Any questions? Comments?
Just a comment. Clearly, when you read the memo, we've had great success in our CDBG program. It isn't a surprise to me that others might say, why would I bid on this? You've had a great success. So I'm fully in favor of the staff recommendation here and that we proceed, and I'll move in favor of that.
Any public comment on this item?
She is amazing. She is on that Blue Ribbon panel, and I think we should acknowledge that Rochelle Kellogg is also on that panel. So I had a question which you may have just answered because I didn't see in the packet. Has she been doing this for the county for 23 years?
Yes, she has.
Okay, so that's her total. So then, get my support. Thank you.
You will.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion by Supervisor Hanfeld, a second by Super Rodetfer to move on staff recommendation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Vote is 4-0 in favor, none against, with Supervisor Royce absent. Will clerk read item 14?
Consideration of approving amendment number 1 to the agreement for professional services with RMA Group for consulting, testing, and inspection services for the Motherlode Regional Detention Facility.
Okay, again, Mo Frank, Deputy County Administrator. Back in May 2015, Tuolumne County entered into an agreement with RMA to do special testing services out in the juvenile facility. Because of the construction timing, things going on, their scope of work was definitely both more than what they originally put in their proposal. They were being requested to do, and then the extension due to additional rock that was unforeseen and other items, the time that they were required to be on site was also extended. This past December, I believe November, December, they submitted to the county an amendment to their agreement because of those reasons, they felt they were owed more money than what they submitted in their original proposal. At that time, staff met with both Supervisor Royce and Supervisor Gray to look over and review RMA's request and claim for their additional compensation for the work they're doing at the Mother Lode Regional Juvenile Center. At that time, staff was directed to work with RMA at a settlement kind of a agreement that was reasonable for both parts. And coming before you is that agreement. Lessons learned. You, as the board, always ask staff, what did we learn and what have we put into practice? We have changed our practices from this agreement. The takeaways from this is definitely additional geotech work is needed before we proceed on any project, and both with the transit project currently going on and the jail project that we're about to start, staff has done that and extensively done more geotech investigation underneath as best we can to figure out what we have, so maybe there won't be as many delays as what we had with the juvenile facility. The second takeaway is to demand and expect monthly reports from the testing services, so we're not surprised at the end of a project to get an additional bill more than what was expected. Hence, right now, we're dealing with a firm, CTS, down from the valley, doing special inspection on our transit facility, and that's exactly what we have in their contract. Month to month, they get a review of what they've done, what they found, what they're doing, and how much, and where that is in balance to their overall proposal that they submitted to us. The third takeaway is definitely to strengthen the provisions in our contract, and we've been working with County Counsel's office. So this coming May, when we go out with the jail project, both in the RFP and then in the contract that's sample contract that's submitted in that RFP, there will be strong language in regards to those two takeaways that we just talked about, making sure that we are very clear with the potential contractors on what we expect from them. So with that, before you today for your consideration is amendment number 1 to RMA's agreement for the Mother Lode Juvenile Detention Facility. This amendment will increase their compensation from the original $96,461 to the $186,461. The $90,000 increase is already put in and provided for in the 2016-17 capital budget. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
You guys are great.
Just a comment, there was a lot of negotiation that staff went through to bring the asking amount down, and we never want to see a cost overrun if we can, but when you really don't know what's in the ground below you, sometimes those things happen. So I would be happy to, when needed, to move to approve the amendment number 1.
Just a comment, Mo, on this. You're doing phenomenal work on all the projects out at the Law and Justice Center. I have we don't do these kinds of large capital projects very often. Okay, I can't remember the last time we did it, but I'm a little not concerned, but I'm a little cognizant of the fact that when we get done doing this, we're not going to have another one. I mean, all the stuff that's going to eventually go out there. We're not going to have another project like this for 20 years maybe or whatever. How do we capture the lessons that we learned going through this? And I'm sure we're going to learn some more as we go forward. But how do we capture those for over time so that when you're no longer here, Sarah's no longer here, this board is no longer here, but we're going to build something big in the future? How do we institutionalize those lessons that we're learning?
I think that's exactly what we need to do is institutionalize it. So, for example, in our sample contracts and in our RFP, we make it clear that if we have anything of this significance, these are the things and steps that the predecessors to Sarah and I need to do and take. And then it goes back to something that we talked a lot about in our board retreat training and passing that knowledge on to that next generation. and making sure that they learn from best practices and just as much as what to do, but what not to do and what to look out for.
And again, that's not
Yep, no,
a
but
pejorative
it's
statement at
important.
all. It's just, it's the nature of the beast
It
as
is.
you go through something this complex.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Supervisor?
Yeah, I agree with Sid, and I appreciate Mo's comments about how we're going to strengthen our system. And I'm going to reluctantly second that because I don't think you've gotten a second there. And the reason I'm saying reluctantly, I'm just sending a message, a personal message to the RMA group. I think they were less than professional in terms of their communication with us on this project. And, I mean, when did you know you were going to have a cost overrun? You wait till the job's over and then double the cost. So I'm disappointed in them as a professional agency. But I understand the need. I understand that there's a real cost there. It's just we should have had some discussions earlier, and I think they have severe or significant culpability in this area, and so I'm disappointed. But I'll reluctantly second that so we can proceed. We need to get this job done. And by the way, if for those of you who haven't seen the Juvenile Detention Center, I want to say congratulations to the team that put that together. It's a magnificent facility, and I look forward to the accomplishments that can be made for our youth over there.
And I would echo those comments and would commend this board, and in particular Supervisor Royce and Supervisor Gray, for taking the time to really look at this and look for answers. We constantly remind ourselves that we are the stewards of the public's money and that it is incumbent upon us to be asking these questions when there are these kinds of overruns. And so I appreciate the lesson learned piece, because I think that is particularly important, because none of us want to see these cost overruns, but how do we do the best that we can to prevent them in the future. So thank you also to staff for all your efforts on working through this. Is there any public comment?
Thank you, Supervisor Hanfeld. I thought it was pretty crappy too, and I don't really like it, but I have no choice but to accept it. And then, Ms. Frank, I thought your presentation today was excellent. I like you in that job. Well, you're just very thorough at passing along the information, which is, of course, very important to me. And I went out there to the open house ribbon cutting, and I just thought it was fabulous. And I think you ought to consider doing something a little bit lesser, but opening it up so that other people of the public could see it. Normally I'm a snooze, you lose, because I thought it was pretty clear to the public that you were welcome to come and see it. But then, you know, there's these people in the cloak of anonymity who have written such vitriol and nasty comments on, like, the Union Democrat website and some stuff on my Motherlode. And they clearly don't understand. And then I got some emails that I should be doing you know. And I just think people don't understand, and perhaps another opportunity to see what it looks like and what you paid for, and now what we're going to pay more for, might be worthwhile, because I didn't like some of the stuff that I read. I thought it was pretty tacky. So those are my comments. Thank you. And I totally agree with you.
Any other public comment? All right, I have a motion from Supervisor Gray with a second from Supervisor Hanfeld to move on staff recommendation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0, and Supervisor Royce is absent. Will the clerk please read item 15?
This is consideration of approving a recruitment for a new veteran service officer.
Steve.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Steve Boyack. I'm the Assistant Human Services Director. I'm here before your board today to ask for your board's consideration for a recruitment plan for a county veteran service officer. Our longtime veteran service officer, Eric Larson, notified the county in December of last year that he was going to resign on December 30th, and did so. We currently don't have a veteran service officer. Eric Larson was appointed our veteran service officer on July 1st of 2007, while he was still a full-time county employee as the HR manager for Tuolumne County. I want your board to know that we very much appreciate Eric Larson's service, not only as a veteran, but taking on the role of veteran service officer in the capacity he did. He did it primarily as a volunteer. We were only paying him 4 hours a month. So the veteran service officer reports directly to me, and given that the board is the appointing authority for the veteran service officer, I'm here to seek, again, your board's authority to move forward with a recruitment for this position. The classification specification and salary was reviewed by county HR. We are not asking for any changes to the classification specification. Your board had that reviewed during class and comp and was adopted by your board in 2015. The salary that is going to be applied was thoroughly reviewed by county HR to be consistent with current market and labor conditions at range 446. That range is $30.96 an hour at the A step through $37.79 at the E step. I want to have a slight discussion about part-time versus a full-time VSO. In the past 3 decades, the county has been successful in finding a county VSO that has been a full-time county employee. That, under those sets of conditions, did satisfy the 1,000-hour minimum requirement outlined in the Code of Federal Regulations. While Mr. Larson was in a retired capacity, of course, he wasn't supporting in that role at 1,000 hours. So upon Mr. Larson's retirement, our Board Veterans Committee Chair, Supervisor Rotifer, asked the county administrator to look into this in a little more detail and come back to your board with a recommendation as to how we might be able to successfully satisfy the 1,000-hour requirement. The county, while it might be able to continue making the VSO a figurehead position with a full-time county employee, it is our recommendation that the board consider moving forward with having at least 1,000-hour VSO position appointed to our Veteran Service Office. That would be about a 0.48 FTE. Attachment B of the staff report goes into a cost analysis for allowing for a 1,000-hour appointment of a county VSO. Right now, we are currently budgeted for Eric Larson's time at 4 hours a month at a little over $6,200. If we were to appoint a 1,000-hour VSO for the remainder of this year, of course, they wouldn't be working 1,000 hours. It would be prorated. We would see a cost of little over $11,000. The annual cost for a VSO at 1,000 hours would be slightly over $49,000. And if we do appoint at the 1,000 hours in this fiscal year, minus what it would cost next fiscal year, the difference would be a little over $31,000. So for the reasons that I just outlined, the recruitment plan assumes that the VSO would be advertised at 1,000 hours. And the board, if the board concurs with this plan, staff would return at a later date to discuss a funding plan that would allow for a 1,000-hour addition of cost to the county VSO budget, as this cost center is a general fund cost center. So what would the recruitment process look like? We are proposing that the recruitment run a course that's very familiar to your board. First of all, the recruitment would be staffed by the county administrator and our HR manager. The applicants would be screened twice, once for technical competence and one for office fit. We would then return to your board with a proposal to have your board appoint that person as VSO. So how will we advertise? We will advertise locally through the Union Democrat. We will also utilize other sources associated with our Veteran Service Office. So again, the recruitment would require an initial screening by the CAO and HR manager. We would undergo 2 sets of interviews, 2 interview panels. We would the individuals selected through that process then would return to your board for further interviews, and your board at that time would select the top candidate. We would do a background reference check and check the physical condition of the applicant, and then return to your board for adoption and approval. The timeline today, I'm here before your board to seek your board's approval for this recruitment process. We would start the recruitment on January 20, and we would hope to have someone on board by April 10 of this year. Now, of course, your board can direct staff any which way you desire concerning this process, but it is staff's recommendation that the board approve the recruitment plan for the new Veteran Service Officer. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So, Supervisor Rotifer.
Yeah, just some points that that Steve did not highlight. First of all, having a Veteran Service Officer is a requirement in order to have a Veteran Service Office, okay? So, and as you all are very familiar, we have probably the best, if not certainly one of the best Veteran Service offices in the state of California. In the past, Michelle, who is the senior person in the office, has done a lot of the VSO work. And so in terms of attending conferences, state association conferences and those kinds of things. In fact, last year she put on the state association conference here at Black Oak Casino. Was very well applauded by all of her state associates. By doing this, funding this at a higher level than we've had in the past, first of all, we have to have somebody at 1,000 hours. That's required by law. But it also will free Michelle up, which she would really like, actually, to spend more time with clients and increase the productivity in that office, because she wouldn't have to, obviously, do some of the stuff that she's been doing that's VSO related. So I asked the staff to look at it. The problem with having someone on county staff that already has a full-time job doing this is it will necessarily detract from their otherwise full-time job. So we didn't, I didn't really have a bias one way or the other, but I think the staff was certainly cognizant of the fact that asking someone to do that probably is going to hurt their primary job a little bit. So that's all just as background. I did meet with Craig and Steve at one point, and we talked through all of these things, and I support where they're coming from. So I would recommend certainly approving this.
Yeah, my question had to do with why are we doing it, and Supervisor Rotifer covered it. It's something that if we want an office, we have to have it.
Yes,
Pretty simple.
Supervisor, the Code of Federal Regulations requires that we have a VSO that is a county employee, number one, and works 1,000 hours minimum, number two. And for the last few years, while after Eric Larson had retired, we were unable to achieve that requirement. But of course, we are looking for a greater level of support within the office, just like Supervisor Rodefer explained. Greater outreach, possibly taking on a caseload after this individual is accredited, because that is also a requirement. So we're looking for an expanded role here.
And the other thing that's involved in this is apparently a rather comprehensive test that they have to be able to pass as well. So there is a lot of studying. Obviously, the new VSO would take on a lot of the budget stuff that has been shared between Steve and Michelle. Would be able to do a lot of that and take on that. So there's certainly workload there, and then obviously potential caseload down the road. And so I will move on staff recommendation.
Second.
Hey, Supervisor Hanfield?
He can second. That's okay. I'm just going to comment. I just want to comment that I think it's absolutely essential we do this. I mean, we need a Veteran Services Office. We have a huge contingent of veterans in our county. They deserve these services, and like Supervisor Rodefer said, if we don't have a VSO, we don't have a Veteran Services Office, and we absolutely need that. So this isn't an option in my book. So I'll let him second.
Is there any public comment on this item?
I found the agenda packet extremely confusing. So thank you, Supervisor Rodefer. So is this VSO office, is that the one down in the old hospital?
Yes, it is.
Okay, because I had someone stop me at the Motherlode Fairgrounds one day looking for veterans services, and I had no clue. So I went on my own little scavenger hunt and found myself at that office. And there was a woman there. I'm assuming it must have been Michelle.
Well, there's a couple, Michelle or Vicky, and then they have a part-time.
Well, whoever was there was
administration.
absolutely wonderful and gave me all this information, and I went up and down Washington Street, giving everybody a handful of packets and telling everybody where they were. But in the agenda packet, I'm like going, what the hell is this? And why did I pay $7,000 and now I have to pay $50,000? So thank you, I now understand.
You're welcome.
I thought going to that office was worthwhile. So if we need, even though I don't want to spend any more money, if that's what we need to do, then I guess we need to do. But the packet, I thought, could have been a lot more clear, because I was totally baffled. So thank you.
Yep.
So I would just add that I think we serve veterans not just in Tuolumne County, but because our office does such a good job, we have neighboring counties where their veterans come and ask questions. So were there any other questions of Mr. Boyack? Supervisor Rodefer moved and Supervisor Gray second that we move on staff recommendation. Just for clarification, because the recommendation says approve a recruitment plan, you are suggesting that we move on the recruitment plan that has been outlined?
Yes.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? 4-0 with Supervisor Royce absent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And let's take item 15A before we take a brief recess.
This is a consideration of adopting a resolution approving the 2017 through 2019 Tuolumne County Deputy Sheriff's Association Memorandum of Understanding.
Good morning, Ann from HR Manager. I want to thank the board for adding this item today. And before you is the 2017 to 2019 Deputy Sheriff's Association Memorandum of Understanding. The term of the MOU will be from January 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2019. Before I go into all the items, there are a number of issues that had to be addressed during negotiations with the DSA. We had Affordable Care Act issues where we had to make sure we were affordable under the law. We have the Flores versus City of San Gabriel case, which made us realize that our waived cafeteria amounts were now to be used to calculate overtime, and this particular unit has a very large waived cafeteria amount for members hired on or before 2009. We also have significant recruitment and retention issues going on with this group. So there were some considerations made by the board and discussed at the table to treat this group slightly different because of all of those issues that are so significant for this bargaining unit. During the term of the MOU, there will be COLA, cost of living adjustments and equity adjustments that were identified by the Coffin Associates Class and Comp Study. So effective the pay period that included January 1st, all the classifications receive a 4% cost of living adjustment, and there are a number of positions that will be brought to within 17% of the market. Effective the pay period including January 1st, 2018, there will be a 3% cost of living adjustment and further equity adjustments down to 15% of market for identified classifications. And on July, that's a typo, that should say January 1st, 2019, a 2% COLA with equity adjustments down to 13%. Also addressed was the retention incentive pays that are currently available to the DSA members. Our retention incentives start at 10 years and cap out at 30 years, and the chart in the MOU shows that we've added 2.5% to probably about 4% to the different categories, which increases the percentage of retention pay and hoped to keep some of the long-term deputies that have actually started looking for employment elsewhere. We have canine pay for the canine handlers, and we brought that language to be compliant with the Fair Labor Standards Act, and that will increase annually as minimum wage changes. We have the Fair Labor Standards Act work week and work periods. They are available for this bargaining unit that's not available to bargaining units that don't have sworn or dispatchers. So although there is considered MOU overtime, we still have FLSA overtime to take into consideration for the Flores cash and lieu portions of the cafeteria. So we have established a 7K work week, which is a 28-day work period for sworn employees, and we have a 7B work week, which is for dispatchers, which is actually a 6-month look at to determine FLSA overtime. As I mentioned earlier, we've had to significantly change our cafeteria programs to become compliant under Flores and the Affordable Health Care, and the changes really affect any employee that is now eligible for health care has to work at least a 0.75 FTE, and the cafeterias are now at $1,000 for a single person. There's some nuances to that, but basically the only amount of cash in lieu they can receive now is $100. Employee plus one, we've increased to $1,469. Employee plus family is $1,869, and if you waive county insurance, you only receive $100 per month, which was at $1,200 per month prior to this contract. So that was the highlights of the MOU. It's recommended your board approve the attached Tuolumne County Deputy Sheriff's Memorandum of Understanding and the associated resolution. Is there any questions?
Just a clarification for the public that might be listening. When you reference Flores, Flores was a case, Flores versus, I believe, the City of San Gabriel?
Yes.
And that was a court decision, and it required any cash in lieu money from the cafeteria would have to be calculated into overtime, and so that was a consideration that the county had to work with at length.
Yes.
Thank you. Any comment, Supervisor?
Thank you.
Yes, you're right.
You've been, it's very hard work to do any labor negotiations on both sides, and to do all of our bargaining units at once. I don't know how you do it, but thank you very much, and thank you to our bargaining units. I think we've still got one, maybe two out there, but bargaining is going, I think, smoothly. And I just want to thank both sides of the equation on that for participating in fruitful negotiations. And I'll move on staff recommendation.
Just a comment, there's nothing any more difficult than bargaining, because we all want what we want, both sides. But I have to commend you and our outside counsel that helped us through some of this stuff to get it done, and also the bargaining groups. It's a two-way street, and to come to an agreement is what we want. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'd like to echo those comments. This is tough, and you spend a lot of hours doing this, and I know they do too, by the way, in addition to the job they normally do. So I want to thank everybody involved, and I'll second the motion.
So I too extend my thanks. It's a long, difficult process that takes two entities meeting at the table and hashing it out.
Yes.
So thank you. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, I have a motion by Supervisor Rotifer and a second by Supervisor Hanfeld. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0 with Supervisor Royce absent. With that, we will take a 10-minute recess and reconvene at 10:46. And actually, we will recess as the Board of Supervisors and convene as the Board of Equalization. Will the clerk please read our first item?
This is number 16A, and it's consideration of approving minutes of the meeting for the Board of Equalization of November 3rd, 2015.
Good morning. Reed Adamson, Assistant Assessor with Melissa Walsh, our Auditor Appraiser in the Assessor's Office, filling in for Kanan Whitman, who is busy with a megabyte conversion today as we went live with the new software system, and is trying to run some reports and balance everything, make sure everything's working. This morning we have before the board stipulation for reduced assessment for a houseboat.
Excuse me. Actually, the first thing I'd like my colleagues to do is deal with item A,
Oh, okay.
Which is approval of the minutes from the meeting held on November 3rd. Any additions or corrections?
No, Madam Chairman, I'll move in favor of approving.
Second.
So I have a motion by Supervisor Hanfeld, a second by Supervisor Gray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there any public comment on this item before I move on? Well, I'm taking a step back, Carol, and getting process thoroughly ingrained. No public comment. Motion by Supervisor Hanfeld, second by Supervisor Gray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0 with Supervisor Royce absent. Would the clerk please read item B?
This is consideration of approving a stipulation for reduction assessment for Sharon Alley Cologne. It's a houseboat. Application number 7 for fiscal year 2015-16 from $133,138 to $115,400.
Before Mr. Reed starts, I was just notified by Chris Schmidt that this is supposed to be a public hearing. It was not agendized as such, so our recommendation is we continue it to February 7th so that we can properly agendize it.
That it's what?
Supposed to be a public hearing, and it was not agendized as such.
I was under understanding that wasn't a public hearing.
Well,
The Board of Equalization, County Board of Equalization is not public.
Mr. Schmidt can potentially answer this question because he's just the one that notified me.
Oh.
Christopher Schmidt, Deputy County Counsel. I represent the assessor, and I reviewed Revenue and Taxation Code 1607, which said the application or a stipulation can be accepted upon a public hearing, at a public hearing. So that's the reasoning for the request to continue this to another date.
So I guess we see you on another date.
So with board consensus, we will continue this to the first meeting in March.
February. Can we do February 7th?
Oh, I'm sorry, February.
You're going too fast.
I am going way too fast, February 7th.
Okay.
Do I have board consensus for that? All right, thank you.
All right.
We'll see you February 7th. Thank you.
The question, the action on the minutes is okay? Thank you.
All right, I will adjourn as the Board of Equalization and reconvene as the Board of Supervisors. And item 17.
Consideration of adopting a resolution authorizing the submittal of the 2016 Home Investment Partnership Grant application in the amount not to exceed $1 million for the tenant-based rental assistant and first-time home buyers program.
Madam Chairwoman, members of the board, Sheila Shanahan, Housing Program Coordinator. The county applies for home program grant funds each year to help fund the county's housing programs. And staff is requesting that your board pass the resolution in your packet that would allow the county to apply for up to $1 million. This year, the county may not be in a position to apply. The program requires that at least 50% of current grant funds be expended in order to apply. We received over $400,000 this year in program income. That means that people repaid their loans. The interest rates were low this year, and so a lot of people decided to refinance their homes and pay off the county loan. We also had a $700,000 grant that's fully expended that expires at the end of this month and won't be counted for the 50% expenditure calculation. But we are close to expending the required amount. Since I wrote the staff report, we've spent more in our rental assistance program and our housing rehabilitation program, and so we need to close one of the two homebuyer loans we have that are currently in escrow and are supposed to close by the end of January. And if we close one of the two, we'll be able to apply for the up to $1 million. If we're not able to, we'll still have approximately $850,000 left to operate the program, and we'll apply again next year. So staff is recommending that your board adopt the resolution authorizing the submittal of the 2016 Home Investment Partnership Grant application in an amount not to exceed $1 million. And we would be applying for our tenant-based rental assistance and first-time homebuyer programs, and authorize the Community Resources Director to administer the grant and sign the necessary documents. Be happy to answer any questions.
I don't know if I'm confused, but what we have is we have too much money right now we haven't spent. And there's a good chance that we'll spend it by
Right, the application is due on February 2nd.
I got it, thank you.
Any public comment?
Madam Chairman, this is really an essential thing that we have the maximum flexibility to move forward on these loans and these first-time homebuyer programs. I know Habitat uses them, and so we need to do this, so I'm going to move in favor of the staff recommendation.
Did you call for public comment?
Do I
I'll
have a
second.
second? So I have a first by Supervisor Hanfeld, a second by Supervisor Gray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0 with Supervisor Royce absent. Item 18,
Reports.
and I'll start to my left with County Council.
So over the last few weeks, we have worked on assisting HR with revising our smoking ordinance. We have worked on claims investigation, litigation discovery, working on the emergency meeting that your board held, and also assisting CRA with that work that David Gonzalez mentioned earlier regarding Q and Mill Road. We also had our marijuana ad hoc meeting and attended the board retreat. Thank you.
Supervisor Rotifer?
Nothing of significance to report.
Bo? Nothing to report. Supervisor Hanfeld?
Just a couple of things. First of all, we've had some retirements, and I've attended some of those retirement parties or celebrations. Scott Clamp retired, and that was a really nice event. I attended. Supervisor Rotifer attended. Also, the Forest Service retired a couple of people, long-term people, Sue Forbes and Molly Fuller, and I went to that, and Supervisor Brennan was there as well. And she spoke on behalf of the county, thanking those people. But one of the things I really think is important we recognize is last Wednesday in Sacramento, we attended the CAL FIRE Awards ceremony, which was held at CHP Training Center. And our Tracy Riggs received an award. She was the first on the agenda to receive an award for the super performance she has done in tree mortality and other acts of emergency and dealing, and her leadership and Tuolumne County's leadership. So I want to recognize Tracy and that she's been recognized by CAL FIRE for just super effort and performance, and well deserved. And with that, I'll rest my comments.
Just enjoying life and the weather. It couldn't be any better. So that's my report.
And I too was at the event for Ms. Riggs and wanted to report out on that. Supervisor Hanfeld covered it. The only thing I would add is that there were probably a couple hundred people in attendance, and I cannot count the individuals that came up within the state organization with CAL FIRE and other officials that just thanked not just the leadership that Tuolumne County has shown, but the individual efforts of Tracy Riggs, because she's been a leader on this and is so incredibly respected statewide. And it's important that we all say thank you whenever we have an opportunity for all of her efforts.
I just want to third that, I guess, and I was kind of surprised she wasn't on the agenda, and I think she deserves more than just kudos and reports when she's not even here, because this is amazing, and she's amazing. So I think she should be on the agenda and get a little public round of applause and bring her her great big plaque, I guess. So thank you.
All right. Thank you for that comment. Is there any other public comment? All right, seeing none. We have 2 minutes until our 11 o'clock appointment. Oh, I'm sorry. Does the clerk have anything to
I
report?
actually attended the board retreat.
All right. Yeah. And we will, that item was pulled, and just for clarification, we will be reporting out on that when Mr. Pedro joins us, hopefully at our next meeting. Will the clerk please read our 11 o'clock item?
So this is a closed session There's a couple of them here. Conference with Labor Negotiators, Craig Pedro and Ann Fremd, Authority Government Code Section 54957.6, all bargaining units. We have a conference with legal counsel on existing litigation. It's Authority Government Code Section 54956.9D1, Mark Kurzich versus County of Tuolumne. And that's United States District Court, Eastern District of California, case number 116 CV 01116 DAD SAB. And a conference with Real Property Negotiators, Price and Terms, Authority Government Code Section 54956.8. The negotiators are Craig Pedro and Daniel Richardson, negotiating with Jane Holman Schmerdon, and this is for .592 acre parcel lot located at 10 Calaveras Street in Sonora with the APN of 5609032. And the last one is conference with legal counsel, exposure to litigation, Authority Government Code Section 54956.9D2, and that's one case.
Is there any public comment? Do we expect to report out? All right, with that, we will recess to closed session. We are reconvening from closed session. Will the clerk please read our 11:30 appointment?
Do we have anything to report out on that?
We will later. Yeah.
Nothing yet. So 11:30 is consideration of adopting a resolution commending Bev Shane, Community Resources Agency Director, on the occasion of her retirement.
And so I'm looking for the board to make a motion.
I'll move on to approve the certificate for Ms. Bev Shane on her retirement, and I'm sure we're going to have lots of discussion, but I will wish her well.
I'll second that.
Thank you, and we will be having a number of public participate in this. I just want to get through the process, and so I have a motion from Supervisor Rotifer and a second from Supervisor Hanfeld. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor with Supervisor Royce absent. With that, Bev, will you please come to the front? And I would ask, is Matt here? Matt Reed? Thank you. Matt?
Hi, Bev. Hello, supervisors. I have two items to present to you. The first from Senator Dianne Feinstein, who she and her representative weren't able to make it here today, and they'll have an official copy sent on the way, I'm told. And so I'd like to read it to you and the board and the public. It's presented to Beverly Shane of Tuolumne County in honor and recognition of your service to Tuolumne County. For over 36 years, you have worked tirelessly and have committed yourself to the success of Tuolumne County's planning department, enhancing the quality of life for those who live in your community. As your United States Senator from the state of California, I congratulate you on this achievement, and I wish you all the best in your future. That's from Senator Feinstein. And a certificate of special congressional recognition also presented to Bev Shane in recognition of 36 years of service to Tuolumne County, retiring as Community Resource Agency Director, dated January 17th, 2017, signed Tom McClintock, Member of Congress, 4th District of California. It's because of folks like you and who are willing to take on challenging positions that the county is able to run so efficiently and successfully. So both of your United States representatives just wanted to honor you on your well-deserved and hard work in your retirement.
Thank you so much.
Is Mr. Jorgensen with us? Dana?
I also have a California legislative certificate from Senator Berryhill and Senator Berryhill and Assemblyman Bigelow. My B's tied up today. This is a certificate of recognition presented to Bev Shane, Tuolumne County Community Resource Agency Director. And it says, congratulations on your retirement after 36 years of dedicated service to the residents of Tuolumne County. Your long career, and that is a long career, is a testament to your knowledge, savvy, and I want to say that's the first time that savvy has ever been in one of these. So you're on it. And that is quite an accomplishment. Your long career is a testament to your knowledge, savvy, and sound judgment, and it shows the confidence that county supervisors and the public placed in you for many years. Best wishes on your well-deserved retirement, presented today in Sonora, signed by Senator Berryhill and Assemblyman Bigelow.
Thank you so much.
We will be following up with a framed legislative resolution.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes.
And I believe Supervisor Gray has something from the California County Planning Directors Association.
This is what we see every day, this smile. It's wonderful. No matter how hard you Okay, this is presented to Bev Shane with much appreciation and gratitude for your years of service to California County Planning Directors Association. From your fellow county planning directors, January 2017. This is a facsimile. The real one will be here. So,
Thank you, John.
And as I make my way to join Bev, if my fellow supervisors now have something I'm sure they would like to share, we'll start with Supervisor Rotifer.
36 years, Bev. Amazing. Just simply amazing. And they were good years. You've worked tirelessly on behalf of this county. You've risen through the ranks, and you've led a very productive agency, and we couldn't have done it without you. And having gone through retirement once myself already, I know it's probably a bittersweet moment, and I know that you've deserved your next step in life. And I honestly, I said it once before, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you've given to this county, and I want to wish you the very best in your retirement. Very well-deserved retirement.
Thank you.
Bev Shane, 36 years. I know what that is because I spent 36 years in a job and retired. Tireless commitment, dedication, passion, energy. If it happened in the last 36 years, Bev Shane was there. We all know that. She made a lot of it happen, and she kept a lot of bad things from happening. Bev Shane has done for this county so much that you just can't itemize it. I mean, it's just amazing what she's done. And we all know that because that's why we're here. And we appreciate it. But appreciation isn't enough. Bev, you've contributed to the well-being of every person in this county and the well-being of the county itself. And we can't say enough thank you about that. Retirement is well-deserved. I hope you won't stay behind and be a stranger. You've done a lot, and we hope you'll continue to contribute, albeit at a more leisurely pace. But thank you for that commitment. It's just, I can't say enough. I know what it is.
Thank you.
Okay, so I knew her when she was a baby, believe it or not. I spent 9 years on the Southern Tuolumne County Planning Commission. I can't tell you what I have learned from this lady. She's amazing. Her knowledge on what goes on in planning is unbelievable. You can't stump her. When you ask her a question, she'll get back to you. She's just been wonderful to work with. Bev, just appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I know that Bev is going to be standing up here for quite a little while because we have a lot of publics that want to recognize you also. But county needed to get their words in. And so Bev Shane was appointed as the Tuolumne County Community Resource Agency Director by the Board of Supervisors on August 28, 2011. After over 36 years of working as a planner in various capacities for Tuolumne County, Ms. Shane has chosen to retire from her public career. Her last day with the County of Tuolumne will be January 20th, 2017. Whereas, with regard to her work in Tuolumne County, Ms. Shane may be best remembered for the following contributions and accomplishments. First Director of the Community Resource Agency, 2 County General Plan updates, formation of and work with the Jamestown Planning Commission for 20 years, Sonora Mining Company and the many jobs it brought to Tuolumne County, development of the Apple Valley Subdivision, Mountain Springs Subdivision development, and the Law and Justice Center. Whereas Ms. Shane's knowledge and experience in the area of land use planning in Tuolumne County in general is incomparable and will be sorely missed. She is an extremely hard worker, an outstanding manager, conscientious, thorough, dedicated, enthusiastic, and desires to see projects through to completion. And whereas Ms. Shane has always maintained the respect of superiors and staff alike for her unmatched work ethic, commitment to her job, and high expectations of staff. She is greatly admired by all of her abilities to inspire excellence and produce an incredible amount of quality work. Ms. Shane's example of professionalism has set a high standard for all those who have worked with her and will follow her. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors wishes to thank and commend Community Resource Director Bev Shane for her exemplary and devoted services to the County of Tuolumne for over 36 years. And be it further resolved that the Board of Supervisors wishes Bev the absolute best as she sets down her pen, budgets, code books, plans, and enters into a very well-deserved retirement.
Thank you, Sherry.
I'd also like to present Bev with the Shane dedicated to her loyal service to the citizens of Tuolumne County from September 24th, 1980 through January 20th, 2017.
Thank you, Sherry.
And now, in an orderly fashion, because I know we have numerous individuals that would like to either share their stories or give a presentation to Bev, if you would please come forward.
Oh, here comes law enforcement.
This can't be good, right?
Does he have his handcuffs out?
Mugshot there.
So the sheriff couldn't be here today, but on behalf of Sheriff Mealy and everyone from the sheriff's office, I want to present you with a plaque. In sincere appreciation for your many years of service to the citizens of Tuolumne County and the sheriff's office from 1980 to 2017. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you,
and
Bill.
From me, thank you.
Thank
I've
you.
learned a lot from you. Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Told you to be the biggest one.
I'm Charlotte Frazier from the Planning Commission, here on behalf of the Planning Commission. Bev is never standing beside us when we meet. She's seated here, rustling through endless papers, exhibiting patience with our endless questions. Bev, thank you for professional, factual reports. We could never manage without you. Never could we. For David, David's here, I think. David, she has small feet. David, she leaves big shoes. We're on your side, David, and we wish you well.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Mrs. Shane, 36 years is a long, long time. Being a past planning commissioner for 14 years and past president of the California County Planning Commission Association, we've worked with Bev, and if you want to know anything in this county, ask Bev Shane. She'll tell you. But Bev, we wish you well. It's been a pleasure working with you. And when I left the Planning Commission, I missed all of the great advice that you give me, and thank you for everything. It's been great.
Duke York, Deputy Director in charge of roads and engineering. We've been working together for all these years, and you know, it's because we're doing what we enjoy that we are thoroughly. That's why we're here. You've been a dedicated public servant for, as they multiple times repeated, 36 years, and you know, we don't like to think about how many years those really are, but to put it in perspective, that's greater than 1/3 of a century. Oh. My goodness. So, you know, I thought about a proper fitting thing, so I'm actually going to get it engraved onto my clipboard. So, thank you.
Thank you, Duke.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Haig. I'm trying to get my partner, Jim O'Neill, from the Jamestown Area Planning Commission to come up and be with me. Okay. I was on the board for 25 years, or on the commission for 25 years. Bev and I kind of matured together. And in case you're wondering what this is, I'm sitting back there crying my eyes out because for me this is sad. Jamestown wouldn't be what it is today without Bev. She was so much more than staff. She was our partner. And it was quite a trip. I remember one year, one time in the 90s, within 4 years, Bev and her staff had to put on 3 state planning commissioners association conferences, and they were wonderful. One of them was in Yosemite, and we had Ward Connerly. We had a renowned professor on demographics. We had way over 100. We had a basket of Tuolumne County products. We marketed it. I don't think that was quite a word, marketed, didn't. But when we were having the Planning Commission hearings for the Sonora Gold Mine, Leslie Hurst was on the Planning Commission at that time, and she and I had an agreement that if one of us were shot on the way to the car, the other one would call 911. So we have had some emotional, tough times because, as you know, sometimes there's not a black and white. Sometimes there's a lot of shades of gray, and Bev was the mistress of navigating us through those waters, and I am so grateful. And I want you to know the last time she helped me was Friday. So right up to the last minute, this woman is giving.
It's really hard to add anything to that.
and all the wonderful and kind words that everybody has said about Bev, they're all true. I was a Jamestown Area Planning Commissioner for 11 and a half years, and Bev was such a great sounding board. We could talk to her about anything, and part of the reality in Jamestown is that we've changed the downtown look. We've had a lot of things that have gone on there that I think are part of the economic development part of this county. And if it wasn't for Bev's conscientious effort to help us out and move things forward, I don't think they would have ever happened. So, Bev, thank you so much for all your help and for always being there.
Thank you, Jim.
Good morning, Supervisors. Bev. I was fortunate to work with Bev, and I'm also very emotional on this. On many commissions and committees, on the Tuolumne County Planning Commission, on the Historic Preservation Review Commission, on the Agricultural Advisory Committee, on the Williams Neck Committee, on the Board of Supervisors Planning Committee, innumerable situations and times where we didn't often in the beginning see eye to eye, but we learned how to have dialogue and discourse to make something happen for Tuolumne County that was very special and very important. And as an example, it would be the Tuolumne County Historic Preservation Review Commission, the first county in the state of California that became a certified local government. She had us stand up and be at a level that still today, when I go to cultural resources meetings, it's Bev Shane that they're talking about, and how lucky we were to have such a dominant, strong person lead us through all of that. And she did it in the face of any given Tuesday where her bosses were completely changing all of the time and had to balance the various interests in the county as well as try and do what she knew was right. And even to go so far as to decide to get a law degree in the middle of all of this so she knew where she stood. She is a woman that makes me proud to be a woman, and I have completely enjoyed my time in working with her. Bev, good luck in your retirement.
Oh, thank you, Shelley.
Good morning, Ms. Sharon Marovich. It's my pleasure to appear before you and also to commend Bev for her many years of service. I have been addressing boards of supervisors prior to 1980, but in my opinion, Bev is having served 36 years, she's a perfect 36 as far as historic preservation goes. I think deep within Bev's heart is a love of historic Tuolumne County, its buildings, its sites, the very things that distinguish this county from any place else on earth, and the heritage and the history that's associated with them. I also believe that she is a great friend of the rural character of Tuolumne County and preserving that character and in doing what can be done within the political process to preserve what is the essence of Tuolumne County. You have been very well served. All of the boards of supervisors have been very well served by Bev. And I would just like to extend my congratulations upon her retirement. I hope it's one that she will derive tremendous enjoyment from. She's definitely earned it. Thank you.
See one more.
Deputy County Counsel Carlin Drifdahl. I have had the immense honor of getting to have Bev Shane as my client for the last almost 10 years. And I have to say how in awe I am of you and everything that you know. You have made my job so much easier. You have, when we have been in agreement, I have known that we are such a powerful force. And on the very few times when we have disagreed, I have known I had to bring my best A game because I needed to convince you. And when I have done that, those have been some very proud moments of my career. And I have, with your work ethic and what you're able to produce, I have often called you magic. But you are such a wonderful human being, and you have made me a better attorney by being my client. So thank you.
My name's Karen Willenberg, and I've been Bev's assistant for over 2 years and have worked under her direction for 15. It's been an honor to work for this remarkable woman. She is more than a great role model. She is an inspiration to her staff to work hard and still have time for fun. Bev always makes sure there's a holiday party and several potluck lunches throughout the year. Secretary Day outings were the best days of work. She made sure we were spoiled. Thank you, Bev, for your leadership. You've made me a better person. I'm going to miss you.
Out of Bev's 36 years, I worked with her for 34 years. And I'll tell you, I've never had a better boss. She's always been supportive, been there, even if she yells at us, hey, it's cool. We learn, and it's just been a real privilege. And I'm going to miss her, too.
Thank you, Judy. Another hug. Guess it's my turn to say a few
Bev,
words.
yes, your turn.
Okay. Well, this is quite an emotional time. Madam Chairman, members of the board, colleagues, and friends, thank you for the kind words and good wishes for my retirement. It has truly been an honor and a privilege to serve the citizens of Tuolumne County for the past 36 years. I have sincerely enjoyed every minute that I have worked for the county. Well, not every minute. Over the years, I've had incredible experiences dealing with a variety of issues and challenges, so there really was never a dull moment. While I will look back with fond memories of the many duties and responsibilities that I have had in my career with Tuolumne County, it is the people with whom I have worked that will always hold a special place in my heart. I have had the privilege of working with your board, prior boards, commissioners, committee members, representatives of many agencies, applicants, members of the public, and, of course, my coworkers. Supervisors, thank you for your support over all these years. I also want to thank Craig Peter, who can't be here today, for always, and I mean always, being here when I needed him and for being such a great friend. Sarah, you and your staff have always had my back, and I cannot thank you enough. Alicia, I have enjoyed our friendship over the years. To my husband, Ken Perkins, thank you for being so understanding when I spent nights and weekends, and there were many of them, attending meetings and working on county business. CRA team, thank you for your hard work and dedication to the county. You are truly the most wonderful group of people I have ever known. Thank you for coming together to create the CRA family. Because of you, going to the office every day seems like coming home instead of going to work. To everyone here, you have touched my life in different ways and have given me memories that I will cherish forever. I wish you all the best as I leave county government to begin the next chapter of my life. Thank you.
In a moment, the board will be recessing, and I know there's refreshments out in the hall, and I hope that you will all be able to stay and join us for that. So with that, I just have a closed session report. It was moved by Supervisor Hanfeld, second by Supervisor Rutherford, in closed session to authorize the county administrator to sign the acceptance of a settlement offer and waiver of right to a hearing for the Tuolumne County Jail Access Road project and pay $131,464 to the Central Valley Regional Water Quality Control Board in relation to alleged violation of the general permit for stormwater discharge associated with the construction and land disturbance activities. The county believes this settlement is a reasonable conclusion of the administrative enforcement, considering all of the factors involved. In reaching the decision, the county considered the recommendation of its attorney, evaluated the allegations of the water board, and the county's response to those allegations, the law which applied to the case, the amount of civil penalties sought by the water board, the county's ultimate potential for liability, the cost of going to trial, and the possible cost of appeal, regardless of which party prevailed in the trial court. As in the case with any settlement, both sides compromised their position in order to finally resolve the matter. The settlement of the case was not an admission of liability by the county. It is the county's position that it is fair and equitable settlement and in the county's best interest from both the legal and economic standpoint. The motion passed with a 4-0 vote, with Supervisor Royce absent. With that, we will be recessing until 3 p.m., where we will be reconvening at the ribbon cutting of the new Tuolumne County Child and Family Center located at 101 Hospital Road, and the public is invited to attend that event as well. And with that, let's go honor Bev. Thank you.
Hey, Bev, I think you may have created a new county emergency. Flooding on the 4th floor due to tears.